Hello everyone, Wednesday, August 14th. Time for another video. Hope everybody is well. Recently, friends have asked me about writing, which I'm always happy to talk about. It's one of my passions in life. Pretty much writing, bodybuilding, and my dogs. And movies, and music. And I do like my cheat meals. But basically, writing. And sometimes they pitch me their ideas, and I guess what I want to get to and say is start it now. I'll do it after this, or when I get to here, or after this happens. No, do it now. Start now. I'm not going to say anything you haven't heard before, but time is not promised. It's not guaranteed. It was around 2011. A book was presented to me to write. I had to really audition or even battle or prove myself or fight for the role of author. And further, I said, if I get in shape, can I model for it too? And basically, what I'm saying is, the time was then. I was about it. I was on it, and it led to now, all these years later, now the publication of my 13th book. So, had I waited for the right time, I still might be waiting. Right now, if you have an idea and you don't think you can write, or you're not skilled, but you have an idea that's intriguing, put it down, write it. It doesn't have to be perfect. When I write one of my books, I certainly plan it out, but I write a skeleton, the chapters and everything, and certainly the photographs or the shots that I'm going to need, or in this case for fitness books, the many exercises and everything. But what I was telling my friend the other day was, I write the fun stuff first. So if it's chapter 5 that's getting me really excited about the project, well, guess what? That's what I write first. And then I go back and do everything else as passionately and as coherently and as factually as possible. But make it fun for yourself. It can be very intimidating to sit there and face a blank screen. Believe me, I've faced many a blank screen only to make it not blank, to fill it with words. Or sometimes, as in screenwriting, you don't really fill it so much with words, because you do want a screenplay, a movie in its written format, to be mostly a white page so that your reader can get through it quickly. Anyway, but my point is, don't wait for tomorrow. Do it now. I'm serious. Do it now if it pertains to writing, if it pertains to exercise, if it pertains to something that you're passionate about, that you want to do. Start now. It doesn't have to be perfection. It doesn't have to be a home run. It doesn't even have to get you on first base, if that makes sense. But an attempt is an attempt is an attempt. Make an attempt. Do it now. The other thing, and just some random thoughts, someone had said to me fairly recently, they said, with this book coming out, Outdoor Physique, do you hope your ex sees it? No. I honestly don't care. Now, there was a time I was motivated, not by revenge, but I was deeply hurt, as have many people been. This is life. And the way I deal with things is I use anger, but I internalize it, and to make the best work that I can. And that's what's most important. That even though at the time, and I've not mentioned this before, but I was going to photograph that book with her, with my ex, and what's important is not only that the book is coming out, but that, I have completed the journey. And that's what's most important in life. So I think it's okay, if we're being real, that one is motivated, say, by, revenge or anger or whatever, or hurt, if it's used in a positive light to get goals accomplished and get things done. But what's most important to me, and I'm so thankful for, is that the book is coming out. It is my Star Wars trilogy, as I've mentioned in the past. I didn't know if I'd be able to make all 3 books at the onset of doing the first one, and here we are. The other thing, and before I forget, I wanted to mention, just to share, yesterday I spoke with one of the managers at the store, and the Outdoor Physique book signing premiere will be Saturday, January 11th from 2 p.m. on. I'll say where and explain more as it gets closer, but I just want to say thank you. I'm so thankful. To me, a book premiere, and I've been to a bunch, not only my own, obviously, but I've been to them before, and it's always cool when you can interact with the author of said book. But to me, tell us something that's not in the book. I like to give a speech, talk about the behind the scenes, then of course talk about the book and how it will benefit people. And then this time I'm planning to do a clinic, a Q&A where people can ask me anything, and I mean anything, fitness related, health related, to help and empower people. And then of course you do the signing, which is always really, really cool. So that happened yesterday. I'm super excited about that. All right, so what I talked about, do it now. Talked about the book signing. As far as fitness goes, I can't stress this enough. It doesn't always have to be perfect. If you had planned to have the perfect breakfast and get to the gym and have the perfect workout and it didn't happen, do your best. As I've said, you always build in intensity. I can tell you right now that when you pick up one of my fitness books, specifically one of the physique series, and I'm in peak condition, my workouts are more intense. I'm in a different mindset the closer I get to taking those photos. And I'll tell you what, folks, it takes time to build up like that. I'm certainly not at that level of intensity or even that strength level, let alone low body fat level, when I begin the peaking regimen for these books. So my point is, it is, and I've heard someone say this, it is progress, not perfection. It is getting up to bat. It is doing your best. And you know what? Sometimes you can't do your best. Sometimes we write days off. I have this thing with myself where if I miss a day, it's all right, provided I make it up, usually the next day. So it's like an honor system I have. So whatever system or barter system you have with yourself is what you do. Whatever your process is what you do. Remember we got into whatever it is, writing, fitness, whatever your passion is for a reason. So sometimes when it gets tedious or boring, or we all get that thought in our head sometimes of, why am I doing this? Remember what made you start in the first place. Remember the passion. I was 13, I'm now 43. So this is 30 years of working out. And at the time, and I've said this before, all I wanted was just some semblance of just bettering myself. I was bullied very bad at the time. I had no delusions of beating up the bully. But I just wanted to do something where I could better myself. And I noticed at 13 that this was one of the few things in life that we have control over. It amazed me that I could change the size and the quality of my muscle tissue and strength. I thought that was very, very cool. Similarly, around the same time, I'd discovered writing. I just thought it was something magical about putting pen to paper and bearing your heart and soul and telling a story or getting something out, or there's just something very powerful, to me about that. And where was I going with this? Be passionate. Do you. Do what makes you happy. Don't expect perfection. Do the best you can. The other thing is, don't get overwhelmed. A lot of people will say, well, I have this great idea, I want to write, but I don't have time. I don't even want to hear it. We all make time. You make time for what's important, but beyond that, I also get the excuse of, well, what do I do then? Agent, publisher, and this is what I'm going to tell you. And this is really maybe a subject for another video. I could do an hour on this alone at least, but by any means necessary, whatever you have to do to get noticed, to get published, is what you need to do. Where I'm at currently in my career, I have professional relationships where I could create a book and send a query, and people will at least look at it. It's not a guarantee, but at least doors are open, and that's a very cool thing. But what do you do if you don't have those doors open? You write the best project that you can, first of all. First and foremost, it's never perfect or finished. You know, they say art is never, it's abandoned, it's never finished. You make it the best you can. Then you can get a guide to literary agents. You can query the publisher. Whatever you need to do to get their attention. But remember, they're very busy and they're getting queries all the time or submissions from people. You have to get their attention, and you have milliseconds to do so. Just like in a movie trailer, you have seconds to get the garner the public's interest, you know, or they maybe won't see the movie. So the most important thing, you know, luck is important, who you know is important, all these things matter. But at the end of the day, you have to have the product. It's the same in bodybuilding. At the end of the day, you could be friends with the judges and know everybody and sponsors, this and that. If you don't have the goods, you're not placing high. So put your efforts into the work, and after you have the work to the best of your ability, you have to put really the same passion into, how do I get this in front of people? And the cool thing is, you know, I'm not Stephen King. I've said this before. I'm not this famous selling millions of copies of author, but I will say that to sit here as a you know, with all these books published, and I've seen them in different languages, some of them around the world, is an amazing, miraculous thing. And I didn't get that by sitting on my butt, not taking action, and taking no for an answer. So if you get anything from this video, it's your passion and your action, in my opinion, that dictates the reaction, i.e., what you get out of this life. How bad do you want it? And I'll leave you with, for me, and the Physique Trilogy and Outdoor Physique, I wanted it so bad that I still don't, I look back and I was a terrible time when I was preparing for it. The writing part of it, which came later, was fun. The putting it together was all good. But actually, during that time, when I was getting ready for that book, it was real tough. And I had my mother on the phone numerous times of the day telling me, stay in your program and finish what you started. You've come too far to let this BS affect you. So I would eat the meals, and I would go to the gym, and I would plan the book and find the right model to co-star with me, and find the right photographer to photograph the book. And it all worked out. And you have to believe in you and not lose sight of the goal. And it's okay, it's human nature, again, I said earlier, to question, why am I doing this? That's human nature, especially when it gets really tough. But you better have an answer immediately to reinforce why you're doing this. This is Hollis Lance Liebman. Have a great day.